Territorial and state houses of assembly election. What do you think is likely to be the impact of what transpired on February 25 on the subsequent elections in this country? Will AAC still come out full force to be part of that process? You having concluded that what happened on February 25 was just selection, not an election. Are we going to have voter apathy? Are we going to have your party saying, look, we don't want to be part of this process, let them go and select whatever they want? And what will be the overall implications for the democratic project in Nigeria?
Well, I don't think that the democratic project in Nigeria should be used to blackmail Nigerians or gaslight them. If the democratic project has failed on its own terms, Nigerians are at liberty to choose whether they continue in it or not. And in that case, our political party will make a decision, because I'm talking to you as a presidential candidate. The party is different in this regard, and I cannot take a decision on their behalf right here on your show. So if the party decides that the other candidate should continue in the project, it's not something that I will overrule. But what you should know is that in terms of voter apathy, they had forced voters into an apathetic situation pathetic situation when they did their Naira redesign policy. That's where this whole rigging started. You know, how do you disenfranchise people by separating them from their legally earned currency, by saying that you have no right to take your money out of the bank? You know, the applications that transfer money is no longer work in this country. People are queuing up from their own money. And we're all celebrating it, that, oh, this is going to stop rigging of election. Now, the people you claim will not have access to money have rigged the election, which was what we were saying, that they never had problem with getting money. You know, they were just distracting you by saying, oh, this is to stop rigging. This is an election that was used. I mean, the deception was massive, and people fell for it. Even the parties that are complaining were happy that people had no money. Now they've discovered that people who said you don't need your money knew what they were doing, because they needed that there were not as many participants in this election as we should be. And that's what anybody's talking about. You have over 80,000 owners of PVCs, people who had the poverty verification card, as I like to call it. Only 30% of them came out to vote. And then, to be honest, the numbers that you are seeing were all bogeys from across the country. That's why I'm not celebrating the election. I cannot pick one side of the election as legit and then say the other part is. It's a totally flawed process. And there's nothing to celebrate. Of course, people are not going to be happy to go to the election. This is demoralizing. And they did it on purpose, you know, and they have achieved that objective. I don't see how people will troop out again, except if they are, of course, bribed to do so in large numbers in the subsequent elections. We just can't sit here and deceive ourselves.
All right, well, just to ask very quickly, because you still didn't quite answer with regards to the question I asked you earlier as to your next move. I know you've said you've spoken vaguely, but your supporters and those who contributed to your campaign are watching, and it would be great to hear you speak as to what the concrete next steps are. And then beyond that, the other parties are claiming that they won the election. So Labour Party candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, has said he won the election. The same with Waziri ATIKU Abubakar. What is your claim in this particular election? Did you win? You said the votes were not yours. So what is your claim in this particular election? Briefly, please.
My claim is clear. You cannot be dilly-dallying about who won and who didn't win when an election was not properly conducted. Elections are supposed to be free, fair, and credible. You know, somebody cannot claim he won in an election that has been described as a shambolic election and a sham. So where's the victory going to take you when you said the elections did not meet the standards of an election? I think these are just, words that are used to comfort so that people will not, if you won the election, then it should be able to be declared as a winner. That's a logical thing to do. So if you didn't win the election, then you didn't win. So you can't accept half of the election and reject half of the election if an election did not hold. What I'm telling you is that as I'm sitting here today, I'm not claiming if that I won or lost, because I did not experience what could be called an election. I'm a candidate. I'm one of the 18 candidates in this country. We went into meetings and it was explained to us what the election should look like, how the polling unit should be transmitted to the server, and how you can view it in real time. There is an electoral act that defines how this election should hold. None of these conditions were met. It's not my issue to determine how people describe, in semantics, whether they won or not. That's their right. Nobody should blame anybody. Nobody should mock anybody for that. What I'm here to tell you, and I'm not vague about it, I don't know how you came about that I'm vague, is that there was no election. This is a selection process. Any election that had the wrong person declared as the winner of the election is not an election. Any election that did not meet the legal positioning of an election is not an election. Any election in which polling unit results were not transmitted as prescribed by law, their own law. I didn't make the law. It's not an election. So what is vague about that? So the fact that some candidates, all the candidates are claiming they won. The one that was declared said they won. The one that was declared as second said he won. The one that declared as third said he won. That's not my problem. That's their own decision. My own position is very, very clear that if you didn't hold an election, you can't declare a winner and you can't declare losers. That's as simple as that.
Well, on that note, we would like to thank you very much, Omoyele Sowore, presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC. Thank you very much indeed.